Hey everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome to another Minecraft video on the Frilioth server. I've got a bit to show you today before we crack on with the main event, so to speak. So over the past day or so, I've been doing quite a bit of building, bit of knocking out, bit of all kinds of stuff actually. So if we start, we saw this last week. We saw this a few days ago. Our pumpkin and melon farm, which is working really well, and that all gets funneled into hoppers just below my feet, and then over to, how long can I keep doing this, over to there, where they all get shot up into what's going to be the storage room. What I've also done, I'm going to stop doing that. What I've also done is I've dug out all of this floor. So all of these I've taken out and I've replaced the underneath of them with hoppers, and they lead into these hoppers here, which are coming from the farm, and they all lead into a, let me get myself a pick, an axe even, to show you. They all lead into a dropper that is under there, that's fired by this clock, by the clock, and that fires everything upstairs into what's going to be the new sorting room. So this can now be converted back into whatever it is we were going to convert it into, and the drops from the farms now go straight onto that hopper, which, as I say, takes them round over there. Now I did, in fairness, I did all of this work thinking I was recording it, and at the end of it, it turned out that I didn't have OBS set to record, so all of my hard work hasn't been caught on film and immortalized forever. So that's why I'm having to run around and show you what I've done now. So as I mentioned, this was going to be our big sorting room, which it is. Now I could have put this, all of our hoppers go down there to our chest, which I'll show you in a second. So I could have put this all the way up here, but that would have in effect sort of made this room next to useless because you wouldn't be able to get into it. So I decided to use a lot more hoppers and put it back here, so at least now you can actually get into the room and it looks like it's a sorting room rather than just a load of hoppers right in front of the door. But basically the items come in via the item elevator, which is in the corner. They travel down these hoppers here and they go through this sorting system, which is your bog standard sorting system. We've got melons in the first one, pumpkins in that one, then sugar cane, then a bit of wheat, then carrots, and then I'm going to be putting potatoes in this one. But currently I've got a grass block in there because I needed something in there so items wouldn't fall down there, and any excess, any overflow is going to come down these hoppers and go into these chests here. And at the moment the only thing that's overflowing is seeds, but I needed some kind of overflow system because if it starts to back up, if these filters start to back up, they will break, and that will break the entire system. So I might have to, if this starts filling up quite quickly, I might have to think about sticking in some kind of fail-safe stop system that will stop items getting into the storage, the filter system altogether. So that's where we are at the moment, and what that means now we've got that in place is that we've got the storage, or a bit of storage, in the trading hall. So now we've got melons in those two, we've got pumpkins, just like the filters upstairs. We've got the pumpkins there, we've got the sugar cane there, we've got the wheat, then we've got the carrots, and eventually we're going to have potatoes. So now we can trade with these guys, and now we can start trading with them. It means we now need to start getting decent villagers. Now, as you may remember, my plan was to have a villager disposal through here, but because my foresight isn't very good, I decided to build a pumpkin and melon farm on the other side of this wall, so we can't do that. However, I've decided that it might be a good idea to have the Vindicator and the villager disposal under the floor in like a dungeon. These mansions have dungeons, or had dungeon. This one had a couple of dungeons. So I'm thinking of, instead of having a room taken up by a dungeon, why don't we have the dungeon where dungeons are supposed to be? They're supposed to be underground, aren't they? So I'm thinking of ripping out the floor, lowering down all this cobble, and putting a glass, like a glass floor over the top of it, and putting a dungeon underneath here. So all of this is going to be dungeon, and then any of the villagers we want to dispose of will go down the mine cart and then go into the dungeon, get ejected out of the mine cart. The mine cart can then go back off up to the breeder to be recycled, and the villager's going to be down there in the dungeon with a mad Johnny who's going to chase him around for a little bit and then do what we can't do because we don't want to get a bad reputation with these guys. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've dug it out now. I've dug out the dungeon and I've made it look dungeony. I was toying with the idea of actually having dirt on the floor with podzol. I've got a bit of podzol knocking about. Podzol and dark oak and coarse dirt and normal dirt, with probably some blobs of redstone dust down there to make it look a little bit like blood. But if I do that and it's dark, we're going to get mobs down there, and mobs next to Johnny aren't going to, well, they won't last very long, or Johnny won't last very long if mobs spawn down there, and I really don't want creepers down there. So I've gone with a stone slab floor, so now that's spawn proof, and I've stuck a bed down. That would normally be brown in the dungeons. They're brown, but I don't have any cocoa beans here, and I'm not running all the way back to the main base just to grab a couple of cocoa beans, so they're having a red bed. And there's a door that leads nowhere, but it looks good. I've put some bars in the walls. You might just be able to see these guys going past the windows, past the bars, maybe, as they're going around. We'll see. So what, I just need to finish this off now. So the idea being, just these guys, we eject them, they fall down onto these tracks. Now, it wasn't until I built them and put these in that I thought, I don't know whether they're going to fall down and get stuck on that ledge. Well, as they say, there's only one way to find out, Frills. I think they will come down and then spin and land on the tracks. And then they'll either go one way or the other. I think it's this way. I can't remember to be sure. Oh, will their momentum off of that allow them to carry on moving? I should have checked this. I should have checked this before I built it. Oh, we'll soon find out, won't we? This is spawn proof because it's on rails. Mobs don't spawn on rails. So we need to grab some of these. I'm going to have the mobs come around, or the villagers come around here. They're going to get ejected out of the minecart here, and then the minecart is going to go on around the corner onto, hopefully, actually I need to replace that with one of them. It's going to go onto a cactus. Let's stick a cactus down here. That there, and then a cactus. Get a block above it. I don't want it growing and then breaking and then falling into the system, so we'll put a block above it. Worry about that in a second. So we need some power coming underneath this block, don't we? Perfect. So the villager comes down here. Because these are half slabs, he won't take any suffocation damage. And we're going to be putting a wall of cobble here. Probably stick in another couple of these things. I don't know if I've got any left. I've still got some. Yes. Stick in a couple of those. And then just here, we'll stick another one in here, actually. And then just... I can't stick one there. I have to go next to it. I have to go there. Now, because here is going to be the only place where he can eject, he's going to get onto the detector rail, and because these are slabs, he's not just going to be able to eject out of the minecart and land on the rails. He's going to eject out of the minecart and he's going to be stood on this block here. And once he's there, eventually he's going to walk off the... He's going to walk off there and land down here with Johnny. Because that's just how stupid villagers are. I'm hoping, anyway, that's the plan. Yeah, so now I just need to stick in the return system. Let's get the return system sorted out for the minecart. Like that. Bit of redstone-y goodness. Redstone there, and then leading into the dropper. Now these are all going to be solid blocks, and it's going to go all the way up to the next level, up where the villager breeder is, and we'll fill that in a second. But in theory, I love theory. In theory, don't have any dirt left. In theory, that would work. That'd be fine, won't it? That'd be fantastic. So if we stick a solid block there and there, we can now fill this all in. Bit of light down there, because we need a bit of lighting. Now that should be done. What I'm going to need to do, though, before I get Johnny in here, is actually eject one of the villagers, aren't I? I'm going to have to eject him and see where he lands. So let's, and I'm going to have to sort him out myself. So which one shall we do first, then? Shall we do the... We'll do a green coat first, shall we? Let's put a bit of floor down there so I can do something about it. So if I eject that guy, in theory, he should end up there. Should. Oh, that was my... Oh, there he has. He has. There he is. Oh, that's amazing. And there he's jumped straight off. I couldn't be any happier, actually. That's perfect. It worked an absolute charm. Brilliant. I'm dead chuffed. So we can fill this in now. Cover this over. Well, cover some of it over. I am going to be getting a Johnny down there very soon, and that'll happen. That'll happen soon. So I'm probably going to need most of it. I'm not going to mess about with end portals and the like. Oh, there's a minecart, so that's even worked as well. Ah, oh, I am chuffed. Covered over now, can't we? Brilliant. So that's that. That's fantastic. So shall we go and get a Johnny? That's better. Man, he didn't want to come, did he? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See you, Johnny boy. Wow. They don't half pack a punch, especially when they've got enchanted axes. Oh, you're after him anyway. I've not named you. I've not named you, and you are attacking villagers. I didn't know you did that. Well, you learn something new every day, don't you, everybody? Didn't realise that. Well, let's cover you in then. Actually, let's get rid of that. Get you covered and we'll throw you another victim then. Another pupil. Another whatever you want to call them. This would be a great trap, wouldn't it? I've got to double check now that there are no gaps in it. There are no gaps in it. There are no gaps in it. Brilliant. Right, who else? Who's going to be next then? Let's get you down there then. It is a problem because they're not moving along the rails automatically. I'm having to wait for them to push themselves, which is not great. So I might have to do something. I might have to put a some kind of system down there that gets them to move. Otherwise I'm just waiting for him to move himself. Oh, there you go, he's out now. See, you're free. Go and meet your new cellmate. In fairness then, actually that's got me thinking. If Johnny won't attack mobs unless his name is Johnny, but he will attack villagers. I never knew that. And if that's the case, then potentially I could have that one further up, couldn't I? I could have a normal floor and then have a bit of dirt, and it wouldn't bother me about mobs spawning in there because he won't get aggroed with the mobs. No, I'm not going to check. I'm not going to mess about with it. But I do need to sort out the system behind the back of there, so they do start rolling straight away, and I don't have to rely on them pushing themselves, because in 1.13 they can't push themselves on rails. So I don't want this to break. Right, let me just finish this off here. Then there it is. Here's a minecart. So if we block up here and have a line of hoppers running into here. Leaving that gap like we did down the bottom. Sorry, like we did at the like we did with the sorter. Then anything that comes up through there now will go into those hoppers and go over to the minecart. So now we just need a system to reactivate the minecart. So I'll worry about that later. I'm not worried about that just yet. That on 3. Blob of dust on top of here. Yeah. Blob of dust there, and then all this can be filled in with is that, oh, that dust is going to activate that, isn't it? That's, I might not even need that. That dust there will activate that block, won't it? So I won't even need that. Well, let's find out, shall we? I've got a minecart. There you go. It worked. Okay, so I've moved the rails down the bottom. I've had to put it back the way it was, which is I didn't want to have to do that, but I've had to do that. What it's meant is that I've had to reduce the size of the cell down the bottom, so I've had to pull that wall in by 1 block, which is where it's made it smaller. But then I suppose dungeons aren't meant to be that big anyway, are they? So now, and I've not tried it, I lost a couple of villagers while I was doing it, because in order to put these rails in here, I had to delete these rails again. And when I got rid of those rails, it meant that those rails snapped back down to the block. They weren't at an angle, and it allowed the villagers that were in there to come out. And I lost a couple of farmers, but never mind, eh? These things happen. Worst things happen at sea. So if we put those blocks back, get those blocks back again. So now all I've got to do is I fed the guys up here earlier on. All I've got to do is turn the breeder on now, and hopefully we'll start getting some babies down there. Anyway, I don't want any of you. You're a Fletcher. I don't need you. Let's see if you're going to work. Is this going to work? Oh, straight away. Straight away. Brilliant. See, if I get another one going round there now. Get another Fletcher going round there. He might push him off. Oh no. I thought he might push him off, but he didn't. But anyway, they're in there waiting to fall down. Come on, jump down and meet. We'll have to call you something else if we don't need to call you Johnny. Meet the jailer. I can't believe you can't stay. That's better. Run, run, boys, run! Not quick enough. I'm going to do it again. We probably need this weaponsmith, but I'm going to do it anyway. And we don't need all the farmers, do we? I'm going to get rid of a farmer as well, just because I can. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm loving this villager disposal system. Right, I'm going to I'm going to finish up flushing all of I'm going to finish up just flushing all my villagers. Oh no, I'm just going to finish up getting rid of all of them. I'm going to have to wait for the breeder to do its magic, because it's only a single pod breeder. It could take a little while, so I'm going to go and have a drink, and I'll be back very shortly. Okay, I'm back. I'm all refreshed and ready to go. I've also, while I've been gone, or while you've been gone, I got down there and diced with death and put in a few more iron bars, because I think they look pretty cool. And I've moved the whatever you call that, the sink, the toilet, whatever it is, away from this corner, because they all seem to be climbing on it. I'm guessing they were climbing on it to try and climb out. So I've moved it over there to see whether or not they climb on it there as well. I don't know whether they will or not, but we'll soon find out, because I should be playing some carnival music apparently, and shooting these guys. Now I managed to count, I think it was probably more by luck than judgment, but I've managed to get just the right amount of minecarts in there. Any more than that, I've got 3 or 4 villagers left upstairs. Any more than that, they'd be landing on top of each other. It'd be a nightmare. So I think it's probably more by luck than judgment, but I've got the right amount of minecarts in the system, and that seems to be working. So what we need to do now is get rid of a few of these guys. You're a butcher. What have you got? 14, 18. It's not great, is it? Well, I'm certainly not going to be using you, so you can go. Whee! Hide in the corner. Hide in the corner. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I can't put this in a shepherd. I'll keep you 22 because we've got plenty of wool now. Farmers we're keeping. Shepherd 17. So you've trumped you. We don't need you. Bye. It's friendly, honestly. And you see these boys just dropping straight in. Weaponsmith. Toolsmith. I don't know whether I'm going to be needing any of you boys, weaponsmiths and toolsmiths. For the time being, I'm going to say no. So let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. Here they come. Doink. Run, fellas. Gang up on him. Do 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 diddle 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 do diddle diddle do do diddle do do diddle do diddle 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 do diddle diddle do do. Brilliant. Toolsmith. Armour. I'm never going to need an armour, I don't think. Get rid of you and you. Keep your farmers. I said I'm going to keep the butcher, keep the librarians. Never going to use a cartographer. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Don't you find that interesting? I find that really interesting. I'm going to leave it because as soon as he moves, they'll start moving. So I'm not too worried about it. And they can't go anywhere. If it goes back, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to bounce off the wall and go back round again. Yeah, there you go. Cleared itself. Fantastic. I'm never going to use you. Butcher 17. What did you have, fella? 14. Much better. You're the meat man. It'd be nice if I could get them to shoot out of there. It's possible. It is possible for me to have a piston behind the back of there. So when they pop out, the piston would shoot out and force them out. Now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I've put in a... You might just be able to see it down there. I've put in a detector rail next to the activator rail. So the activator rail ejects the villagers. And then it goes over the detector. The minecart goes over the detector rail. There's a repeater there on 4 ticks. And that sends a pulse into a sticky piston that's got a half slab above it. So the guy, in theory, should be ejected out onto that block and then a few ticks later get pushed out into here. So let's give it a go. Hey, you boy, you. Yes, you. There's no hiding now. There's no hiding. You boys, you best have you. If you don't have the best trades ever, then you're toast. Come on, there's got to be a cartographer in here somewhere. I'm never going to be that lucky that oh, there is one. There's a cartographer. Hello, fella. He's off. Don't run in the corner. You can't hide in the corner. Go on, fella. You did all right then. Nearly. Nearly. Shepherd 17. Right, I'm going to have to stop just butchering these guys, aren't I? Well, I say that, but I don't want to because it's such fun. Oh, I thought you'd done it then, mate. Thought you'd done it. Right, I think we are going to call it a day for today after that. It's been a fantastic episode. I've got a great deal done, and I couldn't be any happier, actually. It's all gone reasonably well. One more. Okay, I can hear you shouting, one more, Frills. Okay, we'll do one more. Which one? Shepherd 22. Shepherd 22. 4 for some shears. Oh, is this going to be the deal breaker? Cheap shears? 3 for shears. You're the winner. You, sir. Off to me. Whatever we're going to call you. We'll have to give him a name. Give me an idea of a name for that guy down there. Papignon. For anybody that knows who he is. He spent a lot of time in solitary confinement, didn't he? I don't think he spent a lot of time killing villagers, but hey ho. Right. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to call it a day for today then, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to leave it a like. And if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.